Hi, good evening. Again, my name is Tino. Welcome to another episode of Behavioral Infused channel. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about customer experience. The question that I actually asked about is, who is responsible for customer experience? Hey, Ming, how are you doing, man? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, today I want to talk a little bit about customer experience, right? And a lot of people have been asking, what is customer experience? Is customer service customer experience? What do you think? Do you think it is? In actual fact, customer service is just a part, a component, I suppose, a component of the customer experience, right? Customer service basically is where you make a lot of inquiries, where you talk to somebody if you have a problem with the products or services or anything like that. So you go and try and talk to somebody there, right? So today we're going to talk a little bit more about how do we create a lot more of better customer experience. Somebody was asking me the other day, a good friend of mine, and that's the reason why I actually wanted to do this topic today. Hey Raj, how are you doing? Hope all is well as well. Everything is good. Okay, so I was saying, a friend of mine was asking me, in terms of picking up calls, right? The customer calling in, how many times should the phone be ringing? So I said the rule of thumb, the standard in actual fact has always been 3 rings. If somebody called in 3 rings, by then you should be able to pick up the phone. So she asked me, what if there is nobody at the reception counters or in customer service, and the CEO happens to walk past? Should the CEO pick up the phone? My answer says definitely yes, because that's everybody needs to be accountable for that, right? So that's the reason why I'm doing this today. Now, I have a PowerPoint in actual fact. Let me just share that PowerPoint with you guys, yeah? Because it's quite interesting. Some of the facts that has been shared with me, the facts of customer experience and customer service. Right? Yeah, here we go. Let me just share that. Thank you, Isaac. I hope everybody can hear me well. Okay. So really, what is customer service? Who is responsible for customer experience, right? So some facts for you guys to know. Oops, my apologies. Jump the queue. Now, oops, that happened again. Yeah, there we go. So some facts that we need to understand. What KPMG did in actual fact is that they actually interviewed about 300 customer service leaders across 130 companies around the world. And they found out that the heart of any experience is always relationship, right? The relationship that you have with the customers. So the experience that create long-term value and sustainable, and that's going to help you look into or define that 6 pillars of customer service. Now, what are the 6 pillars of customer service? Simply what it is number 1 is resolution. How you change a poor experience into a really great one, right? Sometimes when the customer is not happy with the service or not happy with a certain person, then if you come in and help them to manage that and resolve their issues, and that's where you will have a happy customer. You walk away happy. The second pillar in actual fact is empathy, understanding the customer situation. Now, I'm sure you and I, we both have experience where a lot of times the customer service person or the person that we're talking to in the organization don't really spend time to understand our situation. They don't listen to what we are trying to say. Because every word that we say it out, somebody is going to say, they're going to come back with a response and say, oh, this is the way it is, this, we cannot get this done, I'm sorry. And they're not even, they apologize, but they don't try to understand at all, right? The third pillar in terms of customer service experience is actually meeting our expectations, handling and going beyond the customer's expectations. There are some companies, especially now with this pandemic, there's a lot of people who have gotten onto online businesses. And in actual fact, when I write to them, there's quite a lot of them, when I write to them, they don't respond immediately. And some even respond about 3 days later. Some don't even respond till you try and call them. Even when they put their numbers there and put their names there, you call them and they still don't respond. You know? So if they don't even meet any of our expectations in that sense, you're not going to be providing good customer service. Neither are you going to be getting, the customers are getting good customer experience, right? The energy in terms of how the customer is spending their energy or effort in buying your products and getting your service and all this. Then, of course, the fifth one in actual fact is personalization, using individualized approach to achieving emotional connection. The funny thing that happened the other day, I was reading Facebook, and a friend of mine posted, he says, it's very irritating to have somebody that you don't even know call you by the name dear. Now, if you have bought products from China, you will realize that every time they respond to you, they will call you dear, right? I suppose it's a direct translation of that. Now, is that personalization? I doubt it, because I don't think people find it very amusing if you don't know me and calling me in such a dear endearment term, right? It would be nice if you would call me Mr. Lee, or even Lee, or even call me Tino, and then that itself is already personalizing, right? And last but not least, of course, integrity of the organization. Now, integrity is important to have, right? If you say that your product is a search, and then when the person receives it is of totally different quality, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to actually just keep quiet about it? Are you going to just avoid us? Which one of the companies did. In actual fact, I bought a face shield, and the first time I bought it was great. It was really good. So I told my friends all about it. A friend of mine said, hey, can you buy it from me? I said, sure. So I contacted the same company and I bought almost a dozen. But then when this dozen arrived at my place, the quality was not there. It wasn't as good as the first one. So I called them up to exchange. The first time they exchanged it, first one exchanged it. The second one, they just wouldn't want to do anything with you anymore. They said, I'm sorry, it's been a week, more than a week, it's a month now. We cannot change it for you, right? So to me, that's not integrity, because you need to stand by your products. Now, if I can just go back a little bit, say this one. So the question now in actual fact is, what is customer experience? It's not all about customer service. It's not how fast you actually get back to me or even respond to me and all this. It's not about that. Raj, yeah, King Raj, yes. The next time I know, I will actually call you King Raj. Next time I meet, that's your name, right? And so what is customer experience? In actual fact, it's their impression of your brand, of you, throughout their customer journey with you, throughout the whole entire customer journey, right? It's not just one part of it. In actual fact, it's the whole entire experience that they will go through with you. Mind you, the customer doesn't just stop at sales counter. They don't just stop just because they buy the product and then that's it. They are your customer for that. And many a times I find that people or organizations per se would always say that the customer belongs to the sales department. That's a wrong way of approaching. The customer doesn't belong to the sales department. You got to think where or to whom the customer really belongs to, right? So that's the thought about it. It is the impression that the customer have of your brand throughout their whole entire journey. That's customer experience. There are two touch points that will actually help you with your customer experience. And what are they? The first one, in actual fact, is people. The people within your organization. They are the one, in actual fact, who contributes the most. The second one is the product. The satisfaction that the customer get out of your product, the utility of it, the usage of it, right? The quality of it. So these two touch points are very, very important. But this is where, sometimes when the product is just okay and it's usable, it provides for your purpose and all this, and the people are great, your customers are going to have a good experience with it. They're going to be happy with it. So the other day, Isaac actually asked me, he said one thing. He asked me, Tino, given the situation, you got excellent service, but poor delivery, what would you get out of that? So let's just use the board for a little bit, okay? So if you have excellent service plus poor delivery, what are you going to get? Definitely an unhappy customer, right? That's what you're going to get. And the experience is not going to be nice. Will they help you to even promote it to their friends and relatives? Forget about it. They wouldn't do it because they're not happy with it, right? But what if you have poor service plus great delivery? Well, you're going to get the same thing, right? People are not going to be happy. It's a simple fact. You got poor service, but you got great delivery. It doesn't make a difference. Now, what if you have great services and great product or great delivery? What's going to happen? Of course, you're going to have very good customer experience. Your customer is going to be happy, but don't get too relaxed about it after that. For the mere fact is because with all these things that is going on well for you, if you have great service and you get great delivery, you have the customer is happy, it doesn't mean that the customer is going to be happy for the rest of his journey with you. Because along the way, there will be definitely somebody in your organization, if they're not careful enough, who's going to offend the customer in one way or the other. That's going to turn into a bad customer experience. And that's when the customer starts to leave you, all right? We're not talking about prices. We're talking about experience, where the customer, where they have one particular person in your organization that just turn things sour, right? So that's where the touch point is so important. The major of the touch point is the people in your organization. Earlier I said, many people said, customer belongs to the sales department. That is wrong. The customer belongs to all of us. Everyone in the organization, from the sales department all the way up to the CEO or the business owner. Don't care who you are, as long as you're in that organization, you are part of the customer experience. You have to provide a positive experience, right? If the finance manager don't understand that, make sure that you get them to understand it. If your delivery guys don't understand it, get them to understand it, right? It's not just about the salespeople making the sales. It's about you guys, the rest of them, also holding the torch to ensure that everyone, all your customers, in actual fact, are having good customer experience. So it goes back to the 6 pillars, where all these things is, in actual fact, is connected throughout the whole organization. So as long as the customers are experiencing this thing, you will be providing good customer experience, right? Now, Raj is saying, on sales, I really appreciate the seller remembers us by our last experience. That's personalization. And even the whole manufacturing pipeline must embrace internal customer. That's one of the things about organization. Sometimes when that message is not clear, Well, let me give you an example. I recently had a chat with one of my clients, right? During this pandemic, the business has grown because they are part of the supply chain for online buying, online purchase, right? They're part of the supply chain. And sales were doing great, but the people in the operation sites, in terms of delivering those products, were not engaged enough. There will always be things like, oh, we have too many orders to take care of. We can't deliver it on time. We have this, we have that. And when I hear that, it sounds more like excuses. And also at the same time, it's more like, I don't care if the customer is not happy, because I am not the one who's dealing with the customer. I don't deal with the customer. Whatever they feel, it's not my problem, because I don't deal with the customers. And that's the wrong thoughts. That's the wrong way of approaching it. Finance, and I have experience of that, where finance also pretty much says the same thing. My job is to do finance, to chase after the customer for them to actually pay me. So if I don't give good customer service, it's not my problem, because the customer doesn't belong to me. Again, that's the wrong approach to it, right? So where does customer service start and where does it end? It ends, and it starts and ends with everybody. Everyone in the organization in 9to5 is accountable for customer experience. I don't care who you are. You can be the #1 guy in the organization. You can be the owner of the organization. I don't care. Because if you don't put yourself out there to give your customer a good experience, you're not going to last very long. Your organization is not going to last very long. Actually, Richard Branson said it very clearly. Right? He said, take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers. So like what Raj says, the internal customers needs to understand it, #1. And #2 is that you got to take care of your people, because if you don't, they will actually pull the organization down, because they're the one who's always talking to the customers. I'm not talking about just the sales guys. I'm talking about everybody, everyone. So again, comes back to the same thing. Who is accountable for customer experience? We all are, each and every one of us. Right? There is no one in charge of it. There is a customer service manager, yeah, but he's in charge of just ensuring that the customer gets their inquiries answered, get their phone call picked up very quickly, basically those areas, all right? But when it comes down to experience, customer experience, we have to look at the whole entire organization. Each and every one is responsible. You can't tell me that you're not. If you disagree with me, tell me, right? But it is. Raj is saying, in fact, customer experience must be part of reward to all groups. So yeah, I agree. If the customer experience survey, right, or the customer service survey that a lot of companies do, should include all, including the finance department, including maintenance department, right? It should include everybody. And that's where then people will take accountability for it. People will then step up to make sure that people, your customers are happy. If not, everyone's going to suffer. The organization is going to suffer. Today, customers have a lot of choices. They have so much choices. They can go anywhere. They don't have to buy from you. The thing about doing business nowadays and to be able to sustain business nowadays is to create customer loyalty. And if you don't have customer loyalty, you're going to spend 5 times more in trying to get new customers. 5 times more. Why spend that money when it actually, all you have to do is create good customer experience for your customers? Just ensure that everyone in the organization understands that. Don't just do customer service training for your customer service frontliners. No, do customer service program for all your people, including the senior leaders in the organization, right? So that they can understand, like what Raj says, internal customers comes first, so that internal customers can also take care of their external customers. Then you will find that you will have loyalty from a lot of your customers. Okay? That's what it is. Customer experience is nothing new. It's something which we all need to provide for, right? So, in actual fact, the more that we focus on giving good customer experience, the faster our company is going to grow. And that's what it is, because we all rely on our customers. Creating customer loyalty is not something that is difficult. Think about this. If you have actually used an LG product, right, and they had good service, good delivery, on time, the product was good, quality was good. Now, would you, now I'm asking all of you, and you guys can just put it in the chat, would you or would you not buy other products of LG? Right? And I'm very sure a lot of you would, even though you may not quite like the brand, but because you had good customer experience with the product and the people, there is a high likelihood that you will buy more products, right? Some of us switch phones. Not that we don't like Apple, but after a little while, it's because of one particular person in that particular shop who had actually given you a poor or negative customer experience. You would change that brand and go probably into Samsung or something, right? And that's a lot of times that's what happens. I continuously buy from this one shop, the phone shop that I always go to, this phone shop in Sunway. And I always go to him for whatever mobile needs, whether it's an iPad or whatever it is. I would always go back to him, even for cover. Right? Even although it's actually easier to just get it from one of the carts outside. But I always go back to him because my experience with him has always been great. If I text him, he replies. If I call him, he picks up. When I ask him for opinions, he gives his honest opinion, right? And that's the one person I go to. Likewise, I have only one shop that I go and buy my computers from. And I always encourage my children to go and buy there too. It's because of the customer experience, not because of the product anymore, but because of the customer experience, right? I have choices of products. Yeah, Raj says, yeah, you will buy, even if it's an LG, but because you had good experience. Okay? Very much so the same for all of us. So if you're on an online business and you want to grow your online business, especially now in this pandemic, everybody's doing online business. Think about customer experience. Don't just think about customer service. That's just one part of it. Think about customer experience. The more that we have, the more that we're able to provide that, it's easier, right? So when I answered my friend who asked me about whether the CEO should pick up, I said, yes, definitely, because that's customer experience. Imagine the customer picking up and say, hey, I'm the CEO. Wow, how great is that? Instead of thinking that you're going to talk to a customer service agent, you're talking to the CEO of the company. Wow, that's amazing. Right? That's different. So how different are you? How do you create that difference? Think about the 6 pillars that I showed you earlier. I think that the most important for me in actual fact is resolution, and second is energy. How much effort do they have to put in to even use your products or even to get to you? The less effort it is, the better off you are, right? Okay, so that's all I wanted to share with all of you today. I know it's a short session, and it's been this channel in actual fact is a big behavioral infused channel. We talk about behaviors a lot more, and the other channel, as you know, have been going on live is our candid talk that we have where we invite guests to come and join us. Next week, I wanted to invite some guests. We're still not confirmed yet, but hopefully we'll be able to get them. And even if it's a recorded session, also I will put it out on Friday. Do look out for it. Next week's program is going to be quite interesting. Talking about what the workforce needs, the new workforce coming out into the market. What is corporates looking for? What is organization looking out for in them? What kind of skills and behaviors or attitudes, and how are the universities preparing them for it? So hopefully I'll be able to get that on for you guys next week. And the following week, I will do another live session, and I'm just thinking of what topics that you guys like to hear. Right? Where's the champagne? Yeah, let's get that. Get me. I'm waiting for you to buy that. All right, we are able to dine in already, so you can give me a call and then come over and enjoy that bottle of champagne from you. Right? As I was saying, maybe, hey, maybe Kevin, if you're listening here, perhaps you would like to get on board and talk about what do you call this? Talent, recruiting talent for Malaysia. Oh, you want to know about conflict management? Yeah, that we can do. Okay, so I can do that. 2 weeks from now, as requested by Kit Ming, I will do conflict management. So if you guys are interested in conflict management, come on board 2 weeks from now. Look out for my poster, and then we'll talk about conflict management. Right? That would be a great topic to talk about. Okay, that's good. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And as usual, stay happy, stay safe, and peace out. Take care.